Welcome back, guys. We are going to be doing some more logic puzzles on the app Brilliant. So, next up, we are doing I Don't Know. So, I don't know seems like the most useless thing a person can tell you when you're trying to learn something from them. In this lesson, you'll see that it may not be as useless as you think. Marv is training today to host the I Don't Know game with Alice and Blob. Oh, that's going to be an annoying name to keep saying. In this game, Marv must deduce the truth from what Alice and Blob say they don't know. The deck has 5 cards numbered 1 to 5. Alice and Blob each get 1 card. They can each see their own card but not the other's card. They both use perfect logic. Players can use what they say to figure out which cards they have. Okay. Marv deals the first 2 cards to Alice and Blob. I don't know your number, says Alice to Blob, but I know my number is bigger than yours. What is Alice's number? Okay. Well, this is a nice, easy start. What? Right, let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, my goodness. How on earth are we meant to figure this out? Right, it has to be 5. It's Alice here, not Blob. Sorry. I was thinking this was Blob, but it's not. It's Alice. So I don't know your number, but I know that my number is bigger than yours. So she has to have 5. Okay, that's way easier than I thought. I thought this was Blob. Right, okay, nice and easy, even though I made it seem far harder than it was. After the first practice round, Marv feels like he's getting the hang of it. He takes the cards back, shuffles all 5 cards, and gives new cards to Alice and Blob. I don't know whose number is bigger. So Alice can't have 1 or 5. Marv sees that based on Alice's statement, players will be able to rule out 1 or more of her numbers. Eliminate the numbers that Alice can't have. Are there any others? I don't think so. Right, after Alice says I don't know whose number's bigger, Blob replies, I don't know whose number's bigger either. Alice responds, oh, well, now I know my number is bigger after all. Okay. From this conversation, it's possible to conclude exactly which numbers Alice and Blob have. Seriously? Which numbers do Alice and Blob have? Answer by eliminating 4 numbers, leaving only 1 for each blob. Okay, so we can eliminate 1 and 5 from Alice. Blob replies, I don't know whose number's bigger either. So that means that Blob can't have any of them, which means that Alice must have 4. I think. Hey! That was actually easier than I expected. Every time someone says I don't know, you actually got more information. When Alice said I don't know whose number's bigger, you could only eliminate 1 and 5. When Blob responded that I don't know whose number's bigger, it's possible to eliminate a lot more. Okay, time for a new round. Marv takes back the cards, throws in a 6 on it, and shuffles. He again gives Alice and Blob a card each. Nook stops by, peeks at Alice and Blob's cards, and says the 2 cards add up to either 5 or 7. Marv takes a peek too. So Marv and Nook are nothing to do with Alice and Blob's cards. Okay. Right. So Marv takes a peek too. He sees that Alice's card number is 2, but keeps it to himself. Okay. So the only possible things that Blob could have is 3 or 5 if we know that Alice is 2. Because they add up to either 5 or 7. So by being sneaky, Marv saw that Alice had a 2. He concluded that Blob must have either a 3 or a 5. But Blob doesn't know what card Alice has. I don't know whether our numbers add up to 5 or 7. Right. How on earth am I gonna... Right, in a minute. So Blob doesn't know what card Alice has got, but I do. Oh my god, my brain is gonna explode. What is going on here? I think I'm stumped. I think I am stumped. Right, am I missing some information? Let's have a look. Why do I feel like this should be obvious? Oh, wait a second. If he doesn't know whether it adds up to 5 or 7, then it can't be 5, because then he would know that it adds up to more. So he has to have a 3. My goodness, I should have been able to figure that out ages ago. It's funny how sometimes it just doesn't jump out at you. I don't know if you've ever seen the 1% Club, but that's the same. Sometimes you just look at the question, within seconds you can work it out. Other times it takes ages. Right, for the next round, Marv shuffles the same 6 cards from 1 to 6 and deals again. Again, he informs the players that their cards add up to either 5 or 7. I don't know whether our numbers add up to 5 or 7. So that means that it can't be 5 or 6. I don't know whether our numbers add up to 5 or 7 either. I feel like this should be easier to work out than it is. I'm struggling with this one. Well, it definitely can't be 5 and 6. We've already established that. But he knows, Blorb now knows that hers are 1 to 4 because of what she said. And he doesn't know whether they add up to 5 or 7. Which means, oh God, what does it mean? Ah, it means that he can't have a 1 or a 2, because you would need a 5 and a 6 to be able to work that out. Which means Blorb has to have either a 3 or a 4. Oof, got there in the end. Based on their statements, Alice and Blorb know they can only have these numbers coloured green. Does Alice now have enough information to know what the sum of their number is? Right, I feel like the answer is yes, but I'm not quite sure why yet, so let's see if we can figure this out. Right, so if Alice has a 1, she knows that the answer's 5. If Alice has a 2, she knows that the answer's 3. If Alice has a 3, she knows that the answer's 7. And if Alice has a 4, she knows the answer's 3. So yeah, she knows what Blorb has got based on what she's got. Right, while Marv and the Blobs take a quick break from practice, Nook says, "Hey, Alice and Blorb, it's almost my bot day. the day a robot was connected to the system, otherwise known as Skynet. Have you decided what you're getting me this year? Alice and Blob look at each other nervously instead of replying. Wait, have you forgotten it again? Nook looks crushed. Nook tells Marv, Alice and Blob that his bot day is one of these days. He then whispers something to Alice and then something else to Blob. I've told Alice the month of my bot day and Blob the numerical day of my bot day. Okay. I don't know when Nook's bot day is, but I know that Blob doesn't know either, says Alice. From Alice's statement, in which 2 months could Nook's bot day be? Right, let's see if we can work this out. Come on now. Right, so it can't be 19 or 18, because if it was either of them, then Blob would know the exact date, because there's only one 18th and there's only one 19th. So that means the 2 months have to be July or August. Okay. That wasn't too difficult. From Alice's statement, we know that Nook's bot day is either July or August. At first, I didn't know when Nook's bot day is, but now I do. Eliminate the days that can be ruled out based on Blob's statement. Okay, right, let's think about this. Right, do we need to scroll up? I think we need to scroll up. In a min. Oh god, why is this hurting my brain so much? Okay, what does Blob know? He knows the day, but he doesn't know the months. But now he knows the months, so he also knows the months, the 2 possible months, and he also knows the day. Eliminate the days that can be ruled out based on Blob's statement. At first I didn't know when Nook's bot day is, but now I do. Oh my god, how the hell does he know? Right, so am I just eliminating these 2? Thank God for that. I thought it was more confusing than that. I should have trusted my instincts. It's always good to double check though. Now I know when Nook's bot day is too, exclaims Alice. When is Nook's bot day? Okay. So does that mean it's July because August has got 2 days in? Because she knows the month, but not the days. So we've whittled it down to July, and July's only got 1 day in it. Happy days, happy days. Okay, now you know Sorry, now you at least know when to send me that bot day card, mumbles Nook. For the final practice round, Nook plays the dealer and Marv must deduce whose number is bigger. The cards in Nook's deck are numbered 1 to 5, but he won't say how many cards there are in total. Right, so it's not necessarily 1 to 5. There might be more, I think. I think that's what, yeah, I think that's what he's saying. Nook deals a card from the deck. Looking at each card before handing one to Alice and one to Blorb, he says, their two numbers differ by 1. Oh my goodness me. What? How am I meant to... How on earth am I meant to figure this out? This doesn't make sense to me, this doesn't. Why does this not make sense to me? Right, I've got a feeling it's got something to do with 1. Right, yeah. So if the numbers differ by 1, that means that Blore would know what Alice's number was if he had 1. So it can't be 1. And then because that can't be 1, I don't know either would mean that she doesn't have 2. Hey, we got there. That one had me nervous, that one did. Okay, now we know that Alice's card shows at least 3, and Blorb's card shows at least 2. Now that you've said you don't know my number, I know yours, says Blorb to Alice. And now I know yours too, says Alice. The information Marv gets from this conversation between the two blobs isn't enough for him to pinpoint exactly what number they each have, but it should help him narrow down the options quite a lot. Okay. So that means that Right, so I think Blob has to have either 2 or 3. I think that's what's going on. Because he knows that Alice can't have 2, so she must have 3. Which means if he's got 2, he knows the answer. And if Blob himself has got 3, he knows that she has got 4. So 2 and 3 are the only 2 possibilities, because anything higher than that could give 2 different answers. And now I know yours too, says Alice. So she knows that it has to be either 3 or 4. If it's 3, that's 2. 4, that's 3. I don't think I can reduce it any more than that. Correct. Happy days. There isn't enough information for Marv to identify the numbers, but there is enough information to identify whose number is greater, and that was Alice's. That was tough, but Marv is feeling confident and ready to open the booth. He and the Blobs freshen up to run the day's game, all in a good day's work. Oh dear. Yeah, challenging game, challenging game. Right, let's do one more, and then I feel like I need to rest my brain. Okay, hat puzzles. In this lesson, you'll practice viewing a situation from someone else's shoes, or someone else's hat as the case may be. You'll need to know what others know and don't know to eliminate the impossible and reveal the solution. The next day's game is Hat Tricks, and Marv is back in the break room to practice hosting by playing the game himself. Marv and the Blobs each take turns closing their eyes, taking a hat out of the box and putting it on. Everyone can see each other's hats, but no one can see their own. They'll have to use logic to figure out their own coloured hats. Okay. Everyone gets to wear a silly hat, including Marv. Marv knows there were 2 blue hats and 1 red hat in the box. He cannot see his own hat, but he sees that Blob is wearing a blue hat and Alice is wearing a red hat, so his hat must be blue. Nice easy start for us. Very kind of them. They play again, but with more hats. Marv throws another red hat into the mix, so now there are 2 red and 2 blue hats in the box. After everyone puts on a hat, there will be a leftover hat in the box. They can see each other's hats, but no one can see their own, and no one can see the leftover hat in the box either. Marv sees that Alice is wearing a blue hat and Blob is wearing a red hat. How many of the 3 beings, Alice, Blob and Marv, know their own hat colours? So it's got to be 1, hasn't it? Because Marv has to have either red or blue. Whichever one Marv has got, the one that hasn't got that will know what theirs is. So if Marv has got blue, then Blob can see 2 blue hats, he knows that his is red. But Alice can only see 1 blue and 1 red and won't know. And Marv obviously doesn't know. So it's just 1. Alice speaks up first and says, I don't know what colour hat I'm wearing. So he can't have blue then, it has to be red. The Blobs are known to be perfect logicians. If she had had enough information to go on, Alice would have deduced her hat colour without fail. Given that Alice doesn't know her hat colour, what colour must Marv's hat be? Blue. In this last game, Marv could figure out his hat colour. Yeah, we know. Okay, they play another round, this time with 5 hats. Marv and the Blobs all line up and face the same way. Marv is at the front of the line with Alice and then Blob standing behind. Marv passes the hats back to Alice and Blob. No one peeks at the hat colours. Okay, so there were 3 red and 2 blue hats in the box, and these are the rules this time. Everyone gets their own hat again without seeing its colour, and no one can see the leftover hats or their own hat. Marv is standing at the front of the line, so he doesn't see others' hats. Alice sees only Marv's hat. Blob sees both Marv's and Alice's hat. Blob speaks up first. I don't know my hat colour. So we know that it's impossible for Marv and Alice to both have blue. Alice thinks for a bit and responds, I don't know my hat colour either. Right, let's have a think about this. After these statements, who can conclude what colour hat they are wearing? Wow, this is difficult. This is really, really difficult. Alright, let's have a think about this. This one has got me completely stumped. Because no one can see their own hats. So how does Blob speaking up make any difference? Right, so let's just go over what we know so far. Marv and Alice can't both have blue hats, or Blob would know that his is red. It's this next bit. Alice thinks for a bit and responds, I don't know my hat colour either. Well, of course she doesn't. She can only see the one hat in front. And what difference does it make what Blob says? She obviously knows that if Marva's got blue, she hasn't got blue, but that's exactly the same information as what Blob knew. So what difference does it make? The blob speaks first. I'm not understanding this one. I think I might have reached my brain capacity limit. Yeah, I'm stumped. I've got to choose one of these four answers, so I'm gonna have to go with Blob with a blue hat. He can see the most, and there's blue is got the least, but yeah, I'm not understanding this question at all. Marv with a red hat. Okay. Show explanation. Marv can't see any hats, so at the beginning, he can't know his hat colour. Marv can gain information from Blob and Alice's statements, though. If both Marv and Alice wear blue hats, Blob would know there are no more blue hats remaining, so he must be wearing one of the three red hats. That is inconsistent with his statement. I don't know my hat colour. Since Blob doesn't know his hat colour, there exists at least one red hat in front of Blob. Since Blob doesn't know his hat colour, there exists at least one red hat in front of Blob. Yeah, because if they were both blue, he would know he had red. So one of them must be blue. Yeah, I know that. If Marv's hat is blue, then Alice will definitely know her hat colour is red. Right, let's have a think about this. I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this one. If Marv's hat, even seeing the answer in front of me, I'm still struggling to understand it. So if Marv's hat is blue, then Alice will definitely know her own hat colour as red. Why? Because there can't be two blues, and if Marv's hat is blue, then hers must be red. But this contradicts Alice's statement. I don't know my hat colour either. Okay, well, I didn't realise that them statements were made. Oh, in a min. Yeah, at the end. Right, wait a second. Right, if Marv's hat is red, Alice doesn't know her own hat colour because her hat colour could be red or blue. because there can't be two blues. So if Marv's hat is blue, hers can't be blue, because Blob would have known that his hat was red. So his can't be blue. And that's why he knows that his is red. Okay, okay. I understand now. Oh dear. That was difficult. That was the hardest question so far. Right, in the next round, no one knows what hats are in the box. All they know is that they are getting either a red or blue hat. They can all see each other's hats. After looking at one another, Marv, Alice, and Blob exclaim in unison, "I see at least one red hat." After thinking for a moment, they all say at once, "I don't know what colour hat I'm wearing." Find what colour hats everyone might have. Okay. Right. They all see at least one red hat. So everyone might have a red hat, maybe. Because they're all saying the same thing. And they're all saying, "I don't know what colour hat I'm wearing." Can you choose both? No, you can only choose one. So it's got to be red, hasn't it? Because there's no more information to go by. Thank God for that. Marv is feeling confident about the hat game. Alice says, "Not so fast. There's a much harder version of the hat game." Oh God, I don't want a harder version. That we want to show you. In hard mode, the blobs work in teams to try and stump you. Okay, right, okay. I think we'll save that for the next one then, because that just absolutely messed my brain up. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. That was tough. I think that was the second question that I've got wrong so far in all 3 videos. So I feel like I'm doing well, but that was a toughie, that one was. Let me know if any of you guys got it, and well done if you did. And yeah, join me again in the next one, where I think we've got about halfway through these logic questions. And I think there are 3 categories, so technically, if we're only halfway through a third, we're only 16% of the way through, we've got another 84% to go. So we've got a lot more to do if we want to. So let me know if you're interested in seeing more. And cheers for watching, take care, and I shall see you in the next one.